Okay, we are here at PDAC at the Winsome Resources booth, but we are with Power Metals, who we've interviewed many times over the past kind of 6 months, and you've met Haydn Daxter, but today we have the chairman, Johnathan Moore, with Haydn. They're here, they have their own booth with their core shack, showing off what is like a true high-grade cesium discovery with like upwards of, 20% cesium intercepts. A number of companies have been reporting high-grade, quote-unquote, 1%, 2%, but just as an FYI, Power Metals stock, I've tweeted about and we've talked about, has gone on a fantastic run, now about a 200 million market cap.
Haydn came in and he's just had his 1 year anniversary. I think it's 1 year and 1 month with Power Metals.
Yeah, 1 month.
And I wish I met him 10 years ago. It would have made my life a lot easier. We have assembled a world-class team in cesium development, exploration. Obviously, we'll see some news coming up to that matter, but we're really, really thrilled. And I couldn't be happier to have Haydn behind the helm and me just along, just to make sure that enough gas in the tank to get him to the finish line.
That's great. I mean, Winsome kind of took this over because the Canadian government forced the Chinese out, but it was meant to be a lithium play, I think, when Winsome came in.
It was actually, we drilled our first, when we hit a big banner cesium hole, Sinomine came in and purchased a stake in the company with the offtake rights. Fast forward about a year after that investment, the Canadian government demanded that they divest from the project because it was a concern of national security. Tried to keep critical minerals in the hands of Canadians and North Americans. I'll be honest, at the time it was quite devastating to lose a partner of that caliber and with the financial backing that Sinomine had, but it ended up being a blessing. I will state that the province of Ontario has been fully supportive with advancing these projects. We're in Ontario's backyard just outside of Cochrane through their OGEB grants and ease to permits and accessibility to government resources. Really, I applaud the Ontario government for getting us to where we are today.
That's great. We met Haydn last year. We have been an advisor to both Winsome and Power Metals, but this time last year we met for the first time. Chris Evans, said you appointed the CEO, and Rodney got all excited about cesium, and our friends at Money of Mine podcast are now kind of talking about like what is cesium, and the market's basically controlled by China, and not a lot is known. I mean, people produced some research on the Sinclair mine, which was mined out very quickly, and you've had a lot of strategic interest. You've appointed Canaccord Genuity. Like, is the company for sale, or are you building a new, or is this like, how big can this company be? Grown from like 40 million market cap to 200 million market cap. It's a chart that you look at that, is this $1 billion? Can this be $1 billion story? And what's the path to get there? Size-wise, market size-wise, because the market just doesn't know. Atomic clocks, drilling fluids, some military applications. How do we get our head around the potential here?
I'll leave that one to you.
In the market, and then your position within the market, because everyone, suddenly is announcing they have cesium in Canada.
Yeah, it's been an interesting 12 months from our last meeting and the first time here at PDAC, and going from a 40 mil to a 200 mil market cap has been a fantastic journey, and understanding the cesium along the way. We come up with the plan early last year to tap into the cesium, knowing that it was a very unique but highly prized commodity, and was completely controlled by the Chinese. I think rewind to the middle of last year, we realised that we were sitting on something bigger than Sinclair, and the company went full steam ahead to sort of continue to grow that resource, educate the market, understand the market, and given, like you say, it's something that's completely, almost 100% controlled by the Chinese companies. Finding out information proved to be very difficult. We enter the start of this year, and Money of Mine and a number of other companies have jumped on board and starting to look at cesium, and now we see the likes of Winsome, Patriot, and other companies that are here currently at present promoting cesium and sort of highlighting what they deem high grade. I guess anything that's above 1% is an over limit in cesium. So we're seeing, a few 1, 2, 5, 9, 10%.
Does that mean an over limit?
Well, the process to analyse for lithium, cesium, and tantalum, they run a range. You know, your sample will be from 1% to 3%. So anything above 3% is an over limit run on that process that the lab runs. So all of and Patriot put that out just the other day. So they have a number of over limits. So when they test for the commodity, it goes above the tolerance level rather than below or during what's inside that range. So when they then run an over limit, you then have to run a complete separate process again to deem what is the exact value of that commodity, and that's what we have every time we run cesium. So it's a dual stage process. First of all, you have to identify there's cesium there, and has it overrun that percentage barrier that's within the analysis, and then you run it again. So.
Okay, in Patriot's case, I mean, that was on their CV13, I think, but it's part of their existing drill results.
Correct.
That's not like a standalone cesium mine.
No,
it's a byproduct, whereas yours could just be a quarrying operation.
Yeah,
is that right?
There's this historical. They've known that they've had something there. They've drilled it. It's at depth. It's it's part of their lithium. Where we're completely targeting it and looking at generating interest around cesium and creating a cesium market. And the question around we're at 200 mil. What can we go to? It's a very good question, and it's something that we're not fully, I guess, at large to sort of say that we'll cap it at half a billion, or it may hit $1 billion market cap. What we've seen though in the last 3 months is a massive uplift of interest from companies within Canada, within Australia, the number of strategic partners, hence why Canaccord's now working with us to advise us. We're a pretty small team still, very, very solid expertise in the cesium world, but it's something that we can't consume all of that ourselves. So growing this market, getting it to a point that we are, I guess, creating a North American cesium industry to rival the Chinese is something that's our aspiration. We're not looking to sell the company to get it to 400 million and then we'll move to the next one. It's something we want to continue to grow because there's a new market that's evolving in cesium.
If I could add there, it's almost like I feel we're in the second inning of this game, and the reason I say that is that when you see the amount of interest coming in, and that's the entertaining that we're doing to basically choose the right path forward, I couldn't have dreamt anything better than just the situation we're in, and I think by seeing and getting a temperature gauge on that interest, it just shows me that there's a lot of legs left in this thing.
Okay, I mean if you do a Grok search or a DeepSeek search, you could find out what are the applications: atomic clocks, drilling fluids, some defense applications, electronic applications. But you were telling me that in some cases supply can create its own demand here. So it's not one is the price, but more it's like the availability, right? So if there were more cesium around, more Western companies would use it. Is that fair, and why?
It's completely true. The main application is offshore drilling fluids. In Donald Trump's mind of let's get drilling. There's a lot more applications for that. Solar technology, lithium metal batteries. There's been some studies from the Department of Energy in the US on cesium applications, increased longevity and reduced charge times. So there's massive upside on applications. It's such a unique mineral with its atomic and sort of chemical structure that there's no other mineral like it. And that's the interesting part of it, and also the fact that currently there is not one single operation that's producing high-grade cesium globally. And we're at the forefront of putting into production the only one mine globally.
And you still have a resource to put out, and you have some economics to put out, but what product will you make, right? And then who will take that product and turn it into, I guess, we've seen like all the cesium, was it cesium formate or cesium oxide? There's one that's like 150,000 that you could sell the raw material for, I don't know, 3,000, 10,000, 30,000. Like, what are the increments and value add across that, mining, quarrying to midstream to end kind of chemical?
Yeah, so there's a number of products. There's probably over a dozen cesium chemicals that can be produced. So the raw product, so it's polysite. Pure polysite is 30% cesium oxide. We've been hitting 25, 26% cesium oxide, so we're almost pure in some of the intercepts we have. So to produce the oxide, which is a saleable product to the downstream, is just from our test work is a matter of a quarry, crush, grind, screen, and run through an ore sorter. And out of that, we've produced a 20, a 22, an 18, and a 6% concentrate. Now that's a direct saleable product to your downstream, who then convert that into a chemical, be it a formate, a carbonate, a hydroxide, a nitrate, a sulfate, depending on the application they're using for it. So that's our avenue at present, and we're going to continue to run with that.
Okay, anyone who's like doing some research, like we've talked about the Sinclair mine, you defined an article about the Sinclair mine. I think you have Nigel Brand. I don't know if you worked but that was like drilled out in like 6 months. They made some money, but like what do you know of the history of that, and what's comparable and different, for how you're approaching this?
Well, it's in your backyard, so...
Yeah, it's funny. Dr. Nigel and I have known each other for over 10 years, and we went up there and had a little site visit, went and had a look at the pit and discussed that. And Nigel and I catch up weekly, twice weekly, and discuss cesium and exploration and Sinclair. And we basically use Sinclair as a model and as a base for Case Lake. So we know that, within a 3 to 6 month period, Sinclair was mined out. It was,
sold it to Sinomine.
And it was all sold through to Sinomine. They had to ship it directly from Western Australia to the Tenko mine. Half of the money they made, they had to spend on doing the open pits. They had to get down 50 metres to a horizontal pod that was sat down there. And then, they had a large part of the cost was, shipping the concentrate and the ore across to Canada from Australia. They made a nice little package out of that. But what was interesting was the company was, I guess, in a position where, they were looking for some funds. They achieved some funding. As soon as that was mined out, the company was then sold straight away. And it's been left there in care and maintenance. And,
in 2019, the worries about China were less than they are today, and the geopolitical implications. So here you have geopolitical paranoia plus, a recognition that there are other applications for this. So you've appointed Canaccord. You have, how much money in the bank, and like what is the path for any investors, looking, again at the chart, and now they're interested, kind of get their heads around.
Yeah, I won't get into specifics, but we're, I think people can read from what we've already discussed and released into the market that there is obviously going to be some news coming in the very near future. So I won't get into any specifics there, but I think I think our current cash position is roughly just north of 2 million, which is more than enough. We'll be back drilling in probably in the next month. I think we're going to get another season in there right before the melt in May. But really, I think we don't really. I think it's pretty obvious at this point. I mean, if you wanted to suddenly go and raise a quick $10 million through the marketplace and do some sort of financing through the public, and it's not really what we're looking to do. I think any money that we'd like to receive and any partner that we want to bring on has to be something strategic at this point in time, something that I'm actually going to get some value, not from just somebody writing me a check as a financial interest in the company, but something that actually is going to help me down the road getting to what we actually want to really achieve. And that goes also just from funding into the company, but also offtakes that are currently with Winsome. We're trying to find. We're not trying to find, we are finding, we just have to decide really which is the best course of action, and Canaccord has been really, really good at helping us achieve that.
Okay, so look, we've super excited to have found you kind of early in the lithium doldrums. We did our first interview with you in September, and the stock was 26 cents, and through a series of monthly videos, we've been educating all of our viewers. So, and we did similarly, I think in titanium with Hyperion X, became $1 billion market cap, from April of last year to now. The stories are, quite different, but just, we mentioned kind of money in mind. I'm just patting myself on the back a little bit here.
Oh, it's been great, huh?
Channel, identifying some interesting niche metal opportunities, for all of our viewers who have been watching us and following us. But it sounds like that you've put Cesium on the map. People are recognizing it. You've had a bunch of inbound. You said, shit, we need, to appoint an investment bank. You got a good investment bank in Canaccord to run a process. And the outcome here is going to be a strategic outcome that's not going to be a sale, but it's going to be a partnership that enables you to build a Cesium player, right? That could acquire other assets, could grow its own assets, but there's no equity financing kind of on the horizon. So if you're interested in playing this story, right, you just have to kind of buy it in the open market is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's I would probably say we're not for sale. I mean, we have such good relations with our indigenous partners, and I think really, having their support, we want to show them full confidence that we're gonna deal with this and monetize it together, and not let someone come in and just take it over. No, we're very excited to move this thing forward.
And there's someone I spoke to. You're in Ontario, not Quebec. Someone's commenting that permitting takes longer in Ontario, than it does in Quebec. In general, not necessarily for you, but can you address just your timeline to production?
Interesting comment, and I'll get to the timelines in a second. But we met yesterday and then again today with the ministry, and was shaking hands with Minister Piri again this morning, discussing the project. And there is a clear mandate from the Ontario government to fast track all critical minerals production in the province. But with that, given, I guess, the size and the nature of our deposit, it doesn't trigger federal environmental approval. So that's where you see lengthy delays, 3 to 5 years. Ours is state approvals only, so that's less than 2 years to get what we're currently aiming to mine up and running and into production. And at this stage, our target of Q2 next year is still on track.
Chris Evans was smart to partner with you and take the opportunity, as he was with Renard, diamond facilities. So good quality management team, good quality partnership, and it sounds like there's a lot of interesting news flow to come. So wonderful to meet you for the first time, Johnathan.
Likewise.
In person, not just in screen, and seeing you again, Haydn, and look forward to another exciting year.
Beautiful.
Thanks, Howard.
When you went into Power Metals, what were you thinking? Were you thinking cesium or were you thinking lithium?
No, we were thinking lithium. And the cesium just seemed like an interesting siding to it. For Power Metals, I mean, all credit to Haydn and Johnathan. The job they've done over the last few months has been incredible. The beauty of the Power Metals projects, much like Winsome's story, I think, is that it's such a low risk project. It's relatively small in scale, as all lithium deposits have been in the past, but it's got the ability to make a lot of money. It's at surface. It's essentially a quarrying operation. The resource will be out soon. The PEA will be out soon, and then it can be in production sort of in the second half of next year, or around mid next year. It can all happen very quickly. The Ontario government's very supportive, and the capex is extremely low, so it's perfect low risk critical minerals project that I think everyone needs. It's great for Power Metals, great for Ontario, and it's great for Canada.
At your valuation, we have argued if you take your cash plus the Power Metals stake, the market seems to have is valuing Adina and Surma Clapier and Canset at zero.
But what we did with the capital raise was we extended the option to purchase Renard by 6 months, and we effectively paid out $8 million to cover the care and maintenance costs during that time. If we'd exercised the option in February as originally intended, then we would have assumed those care and maintenance costs for the short term. The reason we extended the option is to give us more negotiating power and optionality in our ongoing strategic process. So we started that in October last year after we published our PEA. We've taken over a dozen parties to site, and we really feel we're closing in. We've got a second amount of site visits coming up. This 6 months gives us, there's no time pressure. There's no gun against our head in relation to time, and we're in a much stronger position. So we're pretty confident of bringing on a strategic partner in the coming months. The carbon capture is very interesting. There's a unique set of circumstances at the Renard mine whereby the crushed kimberlite resulting from the diamond operations over the last 8 or so years is full of magnesium oxide, which is perfect for entraining carbon. Carbon dioxide becomes magnesium carbonate and locks that carbon dioxide away. In addition to that, we've got near $1 billion in infrastructure, camp, airfield, power plant, all ready to utilise in the next few years towards carbon capture. So we've been inundated with offers from technology providers to get onto site, start doing test work, and working out how much carbon dioxide can be removed and how much we can monetize it. So it's a very complementary activity to our lithium, and we think it's going to utilize the facilities, reduce our costs, and even make us some money over the coming years while we continue the project for lithium and await our approvals to convert Renard into a lithium processing facility.